going to be one of those days. Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Meet the Fam. Hopefully you can hear me. I've been having all kinds of fun-filled audio issues over the last couple of weeks, so we're just going to learn and play together, and I love that about this show because I know that you all out there watching are going to be like, hey, Katie, you want to turn that up a bit, or you want to hit that unmute button? What is going on over there? So hi to everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here in the studio. I hope everyone's having a great summer. Let me know if you're like heat wave and you're struggling, or if things are finally starting to cool off in the world where you are. It is finally hitting like normal, great summer temperatures here in New England, which has just been awesome. But it means I've been out of the studio less, so it's made all of my audio a little dicey. But hey, we're plugged in. We're back into the Rodecaster. I don't yet have the Rodecaster 2, so all of you out there are probably in a more fun space than me. But it looks like everyone, the usual crew is on. We have Gretchen in the house. Hey, Gretchen. We have Parker. Mr. Paul Duncan is here, keeping me real. Thank you for all you do, Paul. We have Todd and Jaden and Luis hanging out. It's a fun day here in the studio. I love this series. If you've been watching this and you're like, hey, I'm also awesome, you should email me, marketing@ecamm.com or katie@ecamm.com. I'd love to have you on the show. It's been great. We've been doing these pretty regularly, so yeah, come jump on and share your story and chat with us. Let's jump into what is upcoming here in the world of Ecamm. We have a lot of exciting upcoming things, and I'll give you like a sneak peek tease. If you're not in the beta group yet and you really want to play with the new features that we've been talking about for months now, it's a good time. Now is a real good time to jump into that beta group because we are dropping some stuff soon and you are not going to want to miss it. So go over to facebook.com/groups/Ecamm live beta, BETA, so that you don't miss out on any of that because it's going to be awesome. And we have our usual lineup of amazing stuff going on. So we have Marshall Creates. He is tomorrow at 2 p.m. here on YouTube. He also streams to LinkedIn. So if you want to hang out on LinkedIn, we'd love to hang out with you there. It's episode 6, and we are talking about animated lower thirds. This is Marshall's jam. He comes from a graphic design background, so he's got a really great perspective on this. If you want to step it up and have more professionalism and motion in your lower thirds, this is a really great episode for you. Or catch it replay if you're out enjoying the summer weather. And then on Friday, we have Anna and Fulgens are back for Building Blocks, which is back on our channels as well as theirs. You can catch that on YouTube. I think they also go out to LinkedIn and Facebook. Again, this one's all about video transitions. So if you're like, I don't really know what that means, but it sounds really cool, it is a good place to play and test around and practice. They're going to be diving really deep into it. And you can practice everything that you learn in the community or in the Discord space. So definitely, check that out. And then selfishly, most excited about The Flow, which is our very first video podcast that Ecamm is putting on. Doc is going to take us through every aspect of video podcasting. What is it? Why is it important? What are the trends? How do you get started? What makes a video podcast different from a regular podcast? He and I are going to cover all of that. The format of this show is that it will be live on YouTube every single Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, starting on August 2nd. And then the following Tuesday, the audio will drop on your favorite podcast platform. So wherever you listen to your podcast, we'll be there. We'll be audio only starting August 9th. We'll be live for everyone that wants to join in, ask questions, and get a bit of a community feel here on YouTube starting on the 2nd. So if you want to get into the world of podcasting, now is a great time. We are diving deep, and we're going to learn as we go. So definitely catch that. And now, without any further ado, I love that Paul's been dropping all of the links, the links for you. Actually, hang on, one sec. I gotta jump back over here for a quick second because Keely's got a great comment. The Beta Bunch channel in the Ecamm Discord community is going to be a hotspot for beta chat too. Yes, if you're not on Discord yet and you want to hang out with us, Discord, it just makes it so easy. So swing over ecamm.tv/Discord. And that is our own server. So it's a great chance to be able to hang out with other beta folks who are excited about all of the new features that are coming down the pipe. It's also great if you're in like a specific niche, like podcasting. Maybe you want to learn more about podcasting, or you are a podcaster, you want to find other podcasters. It's just a lot easier to connect and to collaborate with people than Facebook allows us in our Facebook community. You can be in both, or you can be in one and the other. So it's a great place. But yes, absolutely, if you want to get started with beta, that's a great place to be as well. So either the beta group on Facebook, or you can just swing into the beta section of our Discord server. I probably said that wrong, but Keely will correct me. Well, without further ado, I'm so excited today to be hanging out with Kimberly. She has been in the comments on like every single one of these videos, so I feel like I already know her. She is the Executive Director of Zoomcatchers, which is a virtual event and remote production company. And she just does a ton in the virtual event and presentation space. She is an educator, a trainer, a presenter, and a producer. And she is giving us her time today. Kimberly, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm super excited. I have my K cup for both
for Katie and for Kimberly. Yeah, exactly. For killing it.
I start out that way.
Exactly.
My K cup. I'm in my corner. Katie and I had a little technical snafu. Always have a backup plan, everybody. So
Yep.
I'm super excited to be here and to talk about my three favorite topics: Zoomcatchers, Science Quest, and Ecamm. And well, four. And coffee.
And coffee. And coffee, absolutely. Drop a little coffee emoji if you're also just like feeling it with the coffee today. I was saying to Kimberly, I've been trying to cut back a little bit because I'm definitely beyond addicted. But I'm like, I don't know, maybe after this week, we're only Wednesday and it's been a week for me. So I'm like, maybe I'll have a couple of cups.
Just quit on Saturday. Just make it through the week.
Exactly. Exactly. I have to say, so for you who are watching, who've kind of been on this journey with me, and for Kimberly, who is putting up with me today, I feel like the level of confidence that I now have in myself on troubleshooting has just gotten much, much better. So like if these kinds of tech challenges had hit me even a couple of months ago, I would have been like, I'm just going to cancel this. I'm just not going to do this. Everything is just going horribly wrong. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm frustrated, and it's just beside myself, and I would have probably called Ken or Glenn or Doc for some help. But now I feel like I don't know. I certainly am not at a point where I know everything, but I can troubleshoot enough to figure out, how we can get there to make it work. So hey, if you're sitting out there and you're like, I've been at this for a while, but I'm still, not 100% confident. That's okay. It's okay. If I'm getting there, you're getting there.
Good.
Exactly.
And I feel exactly the same way. Like I was saying when I started off, we had a little snafu. My main computer the camera wasn't reading anything, and I was like, okay, I got a backup plan. I got my other thing going. Katie's like, shut off all your tabs. Let's do this.
Let's do this, yeah. So we're low to medium tech today, but we're filled with enthusiasm and questions. So we're good.
And coffee.
And coffee, yeah. We're hanging. Valerie's with us in the world of coffee. I love it. Well, cheers. I don't have mine yet. I'm being good until this interview is over, and then I'll get real jittery. But yeah, that'll be absolutely awesome. Well, let's kick off. I feel like I know you really well, but people watching may not. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you, about Zoomcatchers, about what you're doing in the science space. We'd love to just hear kind of your story.
Cool. Okay. So I am Kimberly Gunn, Executive Director of Zoomcatchers, the most amazing team in the world, next to Ecamm's team. I gotta say that. I gotta shout out everybody, because if I don't do it now, I'm gonna forget. Natalie, Lily, Steve, Esme, Anna, Letty, Garland, and Elizabeth and Jackson. That's the team.
Woohoo!
Super excited. We do virtual events and remote productions. We make you look and sound great. That's our theme.
Love
and
it.
we bring stories to life. A little bit about me professionally. I have worked as an educator in both private and public education. I was doing virtual before we were doing virtual. I was teaching during the pandemic, and
bless you.
also I know, right? I actually loved it, so it wasn't all bad. And
Fair.
also been in the corporate world. I've done recruiting, training, HR work, presenting, and I do have something in common with Doc Rock because like Katie said, I've been blowing up your chats for like a year now. I've been like on everybody's shows.
Oh, love
Hey,
it.
what's up? And so I found out by watching one of Doc Rock's many wonderful demos that he speaks Japanese, and I speak Chinese, a Mandarin Chinese speaker, and that's been a big part of my life. I have taught Chinese. I have made presentations. I've lived there, and so I'm like, Ohio, Doc, because I know he's going to eventually see this. And now I'm executive director of Zoomcatchers, like I said. We got started in March of 2020 at the
Oh,
beginning of the
wow.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Who starts a business at the beginning, right? Okay, we did, right?
I
Our
mean, kind
founder.
of perfect timing for it. I'm not gonna lie.
Totally. It's like if there's any time to do virtual stuff, that was the time.
Yeah.
And then we did a year of market research and looking at what was going on and paying attention to the trends. And our tech lead at the time, a year ago, got a job he couldn't refuse. He couldn't say no to. And he said, Kim, I know you've been doing a lot of behind the scenes. I need you to lean into the Ecamm tech. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And Zoomcatchers, our roots are in the theater, theater business.
Perfect.
Garland is from the theater business. So I got on Ecamm. I'm like a button pusher and a mouse clicker. Okay, I opened up Ecamm, and I'm like, I'm gonna break Ecamm. Let's see if
Oh, I
Ecamm will
love
work.
it.
I clicked on everything, nothing broke, and I'm like, scenes, acts, theater. I got this. I got this. And so here
You're
we
probably like
are.
one of the few that I feel like the amount of kind of confusion that we've had from at least some portion of our users over what a scene is or like what a run of show. But anyone from a theater background is like, I got this.
I'm
I
like
know this.
scenes, acts, I got cues, I can do this. And
Exactly.
so Ecamm has been powering our presentations. We do all kinds of presentations, events. We've done author presentations, people that have books that want to,
Yeah.
reach audiences. We highlight entrepreneurs. We do product launches. We do events where people have scripts and they want to show off their writing abilities.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of virtual event you have, we can do it. And I'm so happy I don't have to man any of the tech today. So that's
If it
I'm
goes
like,
wrong, it's this person's fault.
can I just say that because it's like enough, trying to stay on point with my talking points.
I'm
And
sure. I'm sure.
yeah, so that's Zoomcatchers in a nutshell. Science, we're launching a new program called Science Quest, all about science,
I love
science
it.
content. We really want to inform and educate people about science and technology.
I
Um,
love that.
ev- Everything in our life is science and tech, right?
Yeah,
I mean, when you think about it. And
absolutely.
yeah, so that's it in a nutshell, and I'm so happy to be here. I literally emailed Katie. It was one of your shows. You were like,
See, people, you
anybody
can email me. I'm
it,
reachable.
you were like, anybody got any great? I didn't even hear the end of your sentence. I'm like, I put that
You're
on
like, be right
pause.
back.
I'm like, we have something. I forwarded that link, and here I am. So email people, reach out. That's my
I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
Love it.
We have Omar hanging out with us. Hey, Dr. Omar, how's it going? And Todd's like, let's get jittery. We're in with you on that. And Michelle is here. Michelle, are you watching from a desk or other places? I know you're usually hiding on us. So good to have you here. I absolutely love it. Well, I would love to dive into a little bit about video. So, I mean, maybe it now makes sense that you've given us your background on it, but how did you make the decision to start creating video and kind of get into the video space and the remote production space? Perfect timing, because I mean, certainly as someone on the Ecamm team, we were just like blown away by, we had just a big enough company and just enough like resources that when all of that hit, we were able to jump on and help and chat with people. And the need was huge. So I'm sure that the need was there when is it just that it was a space where you felt confident or you have a background in video?
To be honest with you, my background has been in presentations, and so
It's
a
content,
video
yeah.
is content creation.
Yeah.
And when after we did our market research and we were like, okay, we're ready to go, we're ready to put our stuff out there. I said, let's just create our own content. Let's
Yeah.
not wait for people to call or email and book our
Yeah.
service. I'm like, let's just do something.
Yeah.
And so I came up with the idea of Behind the Screen,
Oh,
just a
I love
series.
that.
Yeah, and it was initially the idea was let's highlight people that are still working, artists, creatives, entrepreneurs during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
How are they staying, afloat? What's going on with them
Yeah.
psychologically, physically, creatively? And so I reached out to people in our network. I was like, hey, we started this new business. We have this new series. Would you come on? They're like, sure. And that gave us an opportunity to learn and master the tech and really really get good at that.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got into it that way. I really wanted to create, and it's just so much fun to tell people stories and bring people's stories to life. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I got into specifically this latest stint of creating videos.
Yeah, and it's funny, like it seems so obvious, but it really is a simple, easy step. Like most of you out there have a network, you have, whether it's, a community on, LinkedIn or a professional network of, folks you can reach out to via email. You have the ability to reach out and I almost never say no to be a guest on things, and I feel like every time I've asked other people, they, for the most part, like if you can make it work as far as scheduling goes, I haven't had anyone that has, passed up the opportunity to come on and share about projects that they're working on or things that are important to them. They love the ability to have a platform, even if it's a smaller platform when you're first getting started, like that. You're facilitating the ability for them to share their experiences and their stories. So it's easier than you think, and it's a much easier ask than like a hard sales ask or or any
Totally.
of the kind of other scarier asks out there. So I think I think it really does makes a big difference, and it's a great way to get started. Just start chatting, start those conversations and get them out in video.
Absolutely.
Love it.
And what I always tell my team is I say, because I'm a button pusher, a mouse clicker, and an email and letter writer. Okay, that's I lean into those things. I say, you know what? There's three things that can happen. They say yes, they say no, or you never hear from them again.
Yeah,
And so
exactly. Yep, that's
if
it.
you're willing to live with those consequences,
Yep.
do it. And so, we reached out to people, and from there, we just kept going. We
Yep.
found, we got referrals, and people were like, "Hey, I've got this person. We, love to have you highlighted," and then it's just grown from there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm loving we're getting questions coming through. Okay, here we go. We have Dr.
Do I
Omar would
have to
like
put
to
my glasses
know.
on?
No, it's all right. I'll read it out loud. So, Kimberly, when you were hosting events, did you also help with marketing to potential attendees, or did they have their own audience? That's a great thing. So,
You,
what's part of the kind of package that you're bundling up?
it really depends on, the client and where they are in their process,
Yeah.
and if it was something that a client initiated or if it was something that we initiate. So we can do both. We have a team of wonderful people that help out with our marketing and our promotion.
Awesome.
Lily's, hitting up our newsletters, our clients.
Love it.
Natalie's, creating our website. So we can do both. We can get, contact lists and, blow up your email list that way.
Hmm.
And also put things out on socials. So it really depends on when do we get the information. Sometimes we've gotten,
Yeah.
events that had like a week turnaround, and so you have to kind of move real fast.
Hmm.
Other times we have a much longer runway, and we can really be a little bit more strategic about how we're going to
Yeah.
post, who we're going to reach out to, what our target audience is.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
question, though.
That is a great question. I'm loving this one. You want to learn how to use interview mode? We have so many videos here on the YouTube channel, so definitely swing over. It looks like Paul also dropped on that you can check out the demo on Friday. So Duck is every Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern here on YouTube. He goes through like every aspect of this app. So definitely
Okay.
it's a fun tool. It's easy to use, right? You feel like it's easy to jump on. You click a link.
Honestly, let me just give you the story of that, right? So, like I said, our tech lead he took a job he couldn't say no to, and he's like,
Hmm.
lean into the tech, right? And so I opened up Ecamm and I just clicked on everything, and I had a big cup of coffee. That's my style. didn't blow up anything,
Yep.
and was able to really figure out. And I decided to kind of piecemeal it and say, okay, I want to learn more about sound, and got
Mm-hmm.
into the general menus, looked at all the buttons, clicked on this, check this, why is that not working, what's going on, figured things out.
Yep.
And then Garland gave me the login to the Ecamm Academy, right? And so I was like hanging out with another big cup of coffee, looking at all the age. I binge watched Ecamm Academy. I'm not kidding. Okay, and then it really started to sink in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. To further that, all of Doc's demos, I watched
Mm-hmm.
them all, and because they were always different,
They're always different,
and
yeah, and the
always
questions are always
different.
different, right? So there we have lots of people that come week after week after week just because they love kind of seeing something new or hearing other people's questions that they may not have thought of. It's like a nice community feel to it.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is, I like to know like 2 or 3 ways to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's a benefit in going to the demos because you always learn that extra step or that
Yep.
keyboard command or
Yeah.
that other way to shut something off.
Yep.
And so it just you just
Re-emphasized, yeah.
reemphasizes what you already learned. And then finally, like on the 4th demo, I'm like, I get it. It kind of all comes together.
It
Right?
does.
I get it.
Oh,
Right?
it does. Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, it's a big piece of software. There are lots of things that you can do with it. You don't have to do everything, which then in some ways can make it somewhat tricky when you're getting started because you have to figure out, what it is that you want to do and accomplish and focus on that first and, work your way through that first and then, and then get distracted by the bells and whistles or the other things later.
That's
But
That's exactly right. And for
yeah.
us, because we do play readings, we have people that, have scripts,
Yeah.
the whole idea is you want it to be smooth. And so
Mm-hmm.
Ecamm has really powered our readings where
That's
like
awesome.
you're at home, you're watching a play, and you have like a beautiful musical introduction or a
Ooh.
beautiful video display. So I'm like, Ecamm has really, really, it has been a game changer. I know people use that phrase. I know people use it. I'm going to use it today. Ecamm has been a game changer, and it
I love it.
really has. I love your software. Can I say that?
Yeah,
I'm
you
I'm
absolutely can.
I'm in love with Ecamm software.
I
Great.
love it. I love it. We have Michelle says that she started a behind the stream show for her main show too. Yeah, that's an awesome idea. I think we're in a day and age where people want to feel that level of connection with the people they work with the businesses that they support. I think it's really great to be able to show behind the scenes or show give your authentic story to people is absolutely huge. I think, so important.
Absolutely. And then, you learn, I mean, in my experience in doing, because we've done a number of them, you learn that, we all have common things going on and
Yeah.
common issues and common concerns.
Yeah.
And so you learn about yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. I love it. Everyone's got these great questions coming through. I'm loving it.
Let's
We
hear
have
it.
we have Eric hanging out. There's a big live show. Yeah. So I mean, there are definitely a lot of pros and cons to using Ecamm or Zoom or using Ecamm with Zoom. We have a great, not to keep pushing you off this live, keep hanging out here on this live with us. But after it's
live.
done, we did an entire series called the Zoom Workshop that is here on YouTube. It's also on our video hub at videos.ecamm.com. But they walk through, every kind of one of our Zoom experts or, Ecamm people who have used those two apps together fairly seamlessly, cover, what they did and how they do it on a regular basis. So you may hate Zoom, but there might be some benefits in using Ecamm with Zoom, or at least watching some of those through to kind of feel like, what's working best for you. I'm loving this one.
Absolutely. And, I had a lot of experience using Zoom when I was teaching virtually. And
Oh, I'm
so I
sure.
learned
Yeah.
so much about the program. And
Yeah.
then, I attended that weekend Ecamm Zoom
Ooh, I
training.
love it. I love
I
it.
was there, loved it. And it's just one of those things where, we all have tools, and it's a matter of, which tools are going to be best for you for a given production.
Yeah.
You're live streaming or you're, recording, and then you're going to put something up. So everybody's needs can be different.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Gabe. Congratulations. Welcome to the Ecamm fam. You've been here for a while, but like official welcome.
I feel like I know everybody. I do. That's why when I got on, I'm like, I know you already.
I know, exactly, exactly. Well, I want to talk a little bit about remote production, which has always been a fascinating topic to me. We did an entire series with Stephanie Liu about it for the first season of
Watch
Showrunner.
that.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of misconceptions about remote production and kind of it's hard. I think it's hard for some people to wrap their heads around. So, can you give us kind of like a brief description on like what you do in the world of remote production and kind of how you navigated your way into that? It's like, is it just scene switching? Is it that, you're driving the whole show and producing things for clients? Are you like working with them, bringing them on? How does that look for you?
All of
All of the
that
above.
all
Yeah.
of the above. It really depends on the project, and I'll give you some different examples.
Yeah.
One of our behind the screen was with an author. His name is Ray Studevant.
Awesome.
His book got nominated for a Pulitzer right in the middle of our production.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, we gotta step up our game.
Yeah.
So Ecamm really came into play, and he was in Europe at the time.
Wow.
And so I was working with him and
Yep.
his agent Letty, and we were holding production meetings. Production meetings, and so we were, going over the material, deciding what do we want to highlight. What sort of visuals do we want to have? What kind of music? And I was putting together, I didn't want to just have a reading. I'm like, this is going to be looked at by the Pulitzer people. We need to have this looking great,
Yeah. Has to be an experience.
It has to be an experience, right?
Exactly.
And so, we worked through that. We picked, reading passages. He forwarded materials to me. I did my own research the book is about his times growing up in DC in the late 60s. So
Wow.
I got materials, visuals, and digital assets.
Yeah.
And then we were meeting every week and making some choices about what do we want to show? What do we want to do? What
Yep.
passages do we want to have? And then use Ecamm to do the interview for that. So that was one example.
Yeah.
Other examples are, people will have a show or a concept that they want to do. They're already bringing something to the table.
Yeah.
And then we step in and say, okay, are you interested in doing an audio podcast from that? Are you going to do you want to do live stream? Do you want to do tape to, put it up on YouTube later? So it really depends on where the client is and what the project is.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like in a lot of ways, I think we can think about remote production and even in-person production as well as this notion of really demystifying the tech and the virtual tech, like the software like Ecamm, right? Where they, people either have an idea or they have a full, built out concept and a run of show, and you're really helping to kind of facilitate that and bring that to life in a way that they may not have fully understood how to do previously.
Yeah, and what I do is, when I'm, if there's a client call, I literally set, depending on the client and the industry that they're from, I set up like a mock Ecamm studio.
I love that, yes.
Yeah, let's say someone from publishing. So I have like, some books in there, and I'll invite them in and I'll say, okay, this is what's possible. The camera can be rectangle, can be square, it can be circle. We can have whatever you want. We can have a countdown clock. Because for me, I think the more you let people know what's available, the more excited they become, and the more excited I become.
Yeah, it gives them ideas. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So Ecamm has really, and I recommend people do that. Just set up like a little virtual, studio for people based on their industry and their interests.
Yeah. We've talked a lot. I think you just phrased that so perfectly. We've done a few episodes and things on like using Ecamm and creating this virtual pitch deck. But I think that, how you're phrasing that and doing that is almost like a little bit beyond that even. It's really helping them to see what's possible and what you can offer them and what that experience is going to feel like. So like not only are you inadvertently, training them like on how that, making sure that they get the best practices and they kind of get all their questions and their nerves out of the way, but you're also doing it in a kind of really creative experience where you can get them thinking about what's possible and what they're able to portray on screen, which is great because that's a less scary space for them to be testing and playing around with versus like, we're going to come on and we're going to do this interview test, test your mic. Like that's a little bit of a scarier, like a little bit out of some people's comfort zones. But like the two of us are just hanging out so I can show you the software. That's way less scary. Like you're like, all right, yeah, that's fine. Like if I look terrible or if my mic doesn't work or whatever, we'll figure that out.
That's exactly right. And you kind of shift the focus, like you're saying,
Yeah.
to the project and get people thinking. Right now, we're working on a project called False Flag. It's kind of like a espionage terrorist kind of script that we're working with a team to pilot and co-produce. And so I got them into Ecamm, and I was like, "This is what this can look like.
Yeah.
We can record, some of the scenes here. We can have a video playing in the background. You can have people
Yeah.
jumping off this." And they're like, "Okay," and it totally took it to a whole nother level
Yeah.
because they didn't really know what was possible and what
Yeah.
was available to them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a great idea. And it's something that I hadn't really thought about until we were doing more of the kind of working with more remote producers and people who are on the ground producing like physical events, like literally moving microphones around and building sets, right? But a lot of them were doing that same concept where they were really leveraging the software not only to produce the content, but also like throughout the entire onboarding process, which I think is just really great. It's an awesome. Michelle loves that idea. There you go. Steal that one. That's a good one.
Take it, because trust me, I've watched all your stuff and I've awesomed some of your ideas. So it's
There
like,
you go. It's teamwork.
and that's yeah, and honestly, I really want to thank all of you, the entire, Marshall, you, Katie, Jill, Doc Rock, straight. I mean, I've watched all your stuff.
That's
and
awesome.
Your community has been so giving of material and
Yeah.
information, and can't thank you enough. So any tip here and there that I can throw back at you, please.
Hey,
please
I'm gonna butcher but isn't there? It's the quote of the like rising tide supports all supports all boats, right? So we're all in this together. We have Doc hanging out with us. Hey, it must be it's early morning in Hawaii. Doc is jumping on.
The one thing I know, Ohio gozaimasu, is that right, Doc?
There you go, Doc. Doc can let us know. We have Michelle smiling away. I love it. Well, I think we covered some of these questions. Let me jump through. Okay, so we were talking about remote production. Well, I guess we haven't asked this one yet. So how do you find new remote production clients? So like how are you? If this is one of those things that's maybe a little bit less known or something that people aren't thinking about doing themselves, how are you kind of finding them and selling them in on this concept initially?
We get a lot of our business from referrals.
Oh, perfect.
We're working right now on this project, and part of the team, we worked with them last year. And similar projects where we worked with another producer on an event, and they'll call us up and say, "Hey, we love working with you guys. Can you help us out with this event?" And like I said, I cold call. I have a pitch deck. I'm a letter writer and an email. I'm like, "Hey, this is
You hustle."
Yeah. I hustle.
I love it.
Because it's either yes, no, or you never hear from them again. I'm okay with those choices because I understand that as a new business, you have to put yourself out there. Yep. So if if you're a professional and you're doing a great job, people that worked with you, you're like, hey, work with these people again. And we produce, like I said, a regular newsletter, and we get clients and inquiries that way. So yeah, we do it all. And my whole thing is like every day I like to think of what can I do? What can I do to move the ball forward? What can I do to introduce some new people to Zoomcatchers? Just talking about it, even with family and friends. It's like, hi, I'm with Zoom. I know you know me from something else, but not right now. Yeah. We're doing Zoomcatchers. Have an event, So
it never ceases to amaze me. Up until maybe a year ago, I have obviously, like all of you watching, I have been on social media for forever, and I've worked in social media or marketing for forever, and yet I have always, for the most part, with here and there, kept my personal social media and like professional, like LinkedIn side of it very, very separate from what I did, in my day-to-day work environment, because I was like, my friends and family don't care like what I do. If you ask them, it's like Katie does marketing stuff for some company that we don't know. So yeah, right? Like they don't care. But I was like, oh, you know what? Because so many of you out in the Ecamm fam started, following me on Facebook or connecting with me in different places, and we've had all these like amazing conversations and gotten to know each other better. I was like, well, enough now Ecamm people are on my like friend Facebook that I'm like, oh, I'll just start sharing about things that we're doing at Ecamm. Not everything, but like some things that are more generally appealing to a wider audience. But I have tons now of friends and family and extended family who are, asking questions, or turns out that they have, video podcast, or they wanted to, do a better job with a meeting that they're doing, or, it is more relevant to your personal network than you think it is, especially if you're in this world of technology. I totally agree. I think, getting out and just sharing that information and letting people know what it is you do, and not being afraid of kind of like obviously in like a non-aggressively salesy way, but saying like, hey, we're doing this thing. It'd be awesome for anyone that wants to learn more about it, or hey, I do this. If you want to learn more about this, or if I can answer any questions, I'm here and happy to do that. It does make a difference. People do follow up all the time and ask more questions about things, or when they're at that, when later down the line they're at that buying point, or they have to do an event and they need a remote producer, you've said that, and now you're top of mind, right? You're the person that they're thinking of when they have that need.
Well, that's exactly right. And it's, I think, when you're starting out, for me, it's like you just have to plant a lot of seeds.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's going to bloom. You don't know where it's going to bloom. And you don't know when you're going to get that inquiry from like, oh my God, I did that a year ago, and now this person's getting back to me. So it takes time, but referrals, not being shy about what you're doing. Kind of, you don't have to be pushy, but let people know.
Yeah.
I was inspired by the yoga woman that you had on
Oh,
there.
Kali. Yeah, she's fantastic.
Beautiful presentation. I have a really good friend who's a yoga
There you go.
instructor, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let's jazz up your yoga studio, And so we were talking about it that way. And you really have to think out of the box.
Yeah.
I think I was on Sunday's show with Strict and a couple of people, and they're talking about this idea of thinking out of the box.
Yeah.
We're beyond, okay, I'm not muted, you're muted and all that. We really want to step up our game, and we're using the virtual space in ways that we hadn't thought about before. And so there's always a way for you to position yourself to think about reaching out to that next client. And like I said, I don't have a problem reaching out to people and saying, hi, I know you don't know me. I know you don't, but I'd like to get to know you.
Yeah, I'm awesome. You need to know me.
I'm awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I did with our Science Quest. We're launching Science Quest, all about science, leaning into climate change and how we can better learn. And
those are, big topics that are hugely top of mind right now for folks. So yeah,
exactly, with the heat wave. And our production team, Anna and Esme, they're like raring to go. They're like, let's go here, let's do that, let's get a drone, we can fly and do some aerial shots. I was like, okay, let's reach out and see if we need permissions for some of that stuff, and reach out to some people. And I contacted the California Academy of Sciences. I said, we'd love to highlight some interesting, fun things you're doing in the Bay Area. And they're like, sure. Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Can we fly that drone over and get some aerial shots?
Yeah.
Still working on that. But you just have to put yourself out there. You'd be pleasantly surprised with the responses.
Those are easier asks. They still feel like asks, so I think that it's hard to kind of get out of that mindset, but they are. It's just an easier ask, and people are much more likely to take you up on something that's mutually beneficial. You're not asking for anything but their time, and it's something that benefits them at the same time as benefiting you. So yeah, that's huge. Doc, am I sounding better? I saw your comment. I turned my mic down. I had a feeling I was a little bit too loud. Let's see. And Doc loves my chickens. I know they have a new coop. The chickens are in a new coop now. In the world of hilarious chickens, to interrupt Kimberly's awesomeness, let's talk chickens for a minute. In the world of
chickens are fine.
In the world of awesome
I can
chickens.
sip on coffee while you do that.
Exactly. We built my chickens, a brand new coop, like an over-the-top, ridiculously fancy, preposterous coop.
Wow.
And on it, we have one of those like electric doors that like at the time of day, so like when the sun comes up, the door opens and lets them out of the coop into like the fenced in run area. And at night, it closes and locks them into their safe coop. But my chickens are not smart. So the last like 3 or 4 nights, we've had to like save the like 2 chickens that are just like panicked in the run. They're like, we don't know how to get into the coop and it's closed now. I don't know what to do. And like one time we had to save it. The door was literally like about to close on a chicken who was just like sitting there being like, what's happening?
Oh my God.
So it's been chaos in the world of chickens. But see, if you followed me on Facebook, this would be
you would know all of that.
You would
right?
know. All right. Back to your regular scheduled programming. We have questions here
It's all good.
from Michelle. She says, oh, yeah, so you've been so guarded about what you're doing, right? Like, yeah, I've just slowly started like adding in more, links of things that are free or that are interesting, especially with video, right? It's like, hey, I'm doing this interview. Do you all want to come and check it out or catch it in replay? This is the topic, or hey, I'm talking about this thing that might interest all of you. I think it makes a difference.
Well, and I think that people, if you don't tell people what you're doing, how do they know?
Yeah.
And then, they find out later. It's like, well, why didn't you invite me to that show that you were on?
Exactly. That's relevant to me.
What do I have? Like, a disease or something? Like, why didn't you let me know about that? So, but I think there's like a fine line between being like really pushy and people thinking you're trying to get something from them versus this is what we're doing. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
You're a part of my life and my network, and we want to share what we're doing.
Yeah. Oh, Mark. Hey, Mark. Thanks for hanging out with us. Mark is back focused on remote production and guests. Mark is in Bali. Oh, okay, I'm really jealous about this situation. Working from Bali, when guests call in, we rarely get quality from the guests, similar to what appears in US-based streams, even with high-speed fiber. This is a huge question and issue for a lot of people, and I think, Doc, I'm sure will have much more detailed feelings and thoughts that he will put in the comments. But from my perspective, I think there's a couple things that go into it. One is that you might just need to accept that. Like, you do the best that you can to get the best possible quality, and that's going to come to, educating your guests. It might even be that you need to send your guests like a little interview kit that contains like a better webcam, a better microphone, things that you know and trust, and doing kind of all of that additional front work to get them the highest quality possible. But if you've done all that and they have a great camera, they have a good computer, and the internet connection is as good as it's going to get, and it seems high, then there's not much more you can do with that other than maybe you're just upfront with viewers, from the start. The viewers will put up with, somewhat of a crummy or lower video connection. Like, they'll put up if your video is, kind of coming in and out. They're not going to put up with bad audio. They're just going to peace out. So of the two, if you can hear your guests and they can hear you and the viewers and listeners can hear all of it, I think that you might just need to settle a little bit with that, given that you are in a space where it might be a little bit less stable or it might be a little bit, more difficult. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that, Katie. And, and for us, that's a part of we talked about, the flow, the process, and the pre-production process.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I don't like to take anything to chance. I'm like, we're going to do tech checks.
Yeah,
we're going to give ourselves enough of a runway, because that way you can troubleshoot. And I've asked clients, like, can you borrow a machine?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you go to your uncle's house? Like,
Yep.
do you know anybody? Because, we want it to look great. You do too.
Yeah.
And let's think through.
Give your guests that
possible
knowledge.
thing.
Yeah. Because sometimes
Give them
it's
the
just that
knowledge.
they don't, like, they want to look their best. They just don't know. Or they
Right.
think that what they have is good enough and they don't know what the quality is. So, like, you're making them more comfortable, and you're caring about what's obviously going to be important to them as much as it is important to you and your viewer. So it's a win-win situation to be able to give them that education.
Absolutely, and always have a backup plan.
Yeah.
It's like, when we started this show, it's like my main computer, that it wasn't reading the camera, and I was like, well, I
Yep.
got my backup plan, and we were able to get it, thankfully.
Exactly.
So and like you said, I think people are forgiving. It's like, if you can't, what can you do? Shut off your camera, put up a nice picture of the person if that's what you have to do, right? So yeah, you make it happen.
Yeah, I love it. I'm loving the chat. I'm being a bad host. I'm like watching the chat and hilarious.
Is someone blowing up the chat?
Hilarity. No, it's just a wonderful conversation. We have another great question. Can this software be used to stream consoles like OBS? So expand a little bit. By a console, are you meaning like in a gaming environment where you want to be able to stream like a PlayStation or one of those physical consoles, or have I totally misunderstood your question and you're asking about something different? But probably is the answer. Ecamm has almost every single feature that OBS does. with it, obviously there's a few that are different, and there's a few things that OBS does a little bit differently, but probably yes is the answer, depending on what the specifics are. Yeah, Doc says we can take any video source that your computer can see. Michelle's laughing at my chickens. Yeah, it's been nuts. I'm going to have to do like a few TikTok videos. I'm sure that one of these chickens is going to get like injured by this. I'm like been reading about this store. It's been
we can't have injured chickens.
Can't have injured chickens. I'm going to be working from like outside in the coop. It's going to be ridiculous. Yeah, Doc was saying that he flipped his Instagram from personal to creator and didn't look back, right? So yeah, I think I think we're always kind of worried about blurring those lines. And I think depending on what you're doing, sometimes you need hard lines. If you're an educator and you're working with children, you might have to have some of those lines up. But, take a look at it, because it might be that, there's opportunities there that you're missing, or ways to connect with people in your personal network that are maybe you want to send them a DM instead, and it's not something you put up on your, like, publicly on your personal channel. But it's worth exploring, I think.
I do too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through. There's been like so many great things. Doc is answering about the internet and console means. Yeah, see, hey, I'm right. I got one of those. We have one of those at home. Does my Super Nintendo count? I still have one of those at home too. I'm old school in the world of gaming. I love it.
But a quick comment about the internet. I think, and I've heard you mention this too, and on other shows. It's like, most of the issues are going to be with internet and internet connectivity.
Connectivity is the number one issue. Yep.
It's the number one issue, because that's where it all starts. And so if people can get hardwired to get the fastest upload download speed that they can get, go for it, because it'll just save you that much. You won't be so anxious about that part of it. Maybe some other things. Right?
Maybe some other things, but not that part of it. Yeah, exactly. I learned a ton. I did. It's probably been over a year at this point ago now, but the video is on both the Video Hub as well as, I believe, on YouTube. But I did an interview with Dan Holloway, and he talked a lot about like what you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about the internet. And I learned a ton of just tips. So like, if you're the person who's like, Katie, I've done everything, but like wired connection, isn't going to work in my space, and I'm still on Wi-Fi and I have a home off. I hear you. I have all of those problems when I'm streaming from home. And there are certain things that you need to understand. There are times of day that are worse. So you're sharing all of that Wi-Fi connection with everyone in your residential neighborhood, right? If that's where you are.
Right.
So like when kids are home, when people are binge watching Netflix shows, like these are the times of day that are not great for streaming if you can't control and get that higher level quality. So there are things that you can do and things to consider, but you're going to have to think that through and make those concessions. So if it's a cost and you can't quite afford to get out, to get up to that level where you can afford to, wire your house or rent an office space that has a better connection or whatever it is that you need to do there. There are things you can do in the interim until you're able to get there, but you need to take a bunch of different elements into consideration. So it's a lot that goes into the internet.
It's true, and I think back to your question about remote producing. One of the key things is knowing your equipment, knowing your technology as much as you can. Understanding where does your sound come from, what's going on there, and it's a lot to know, but just taking it in chunks. Like I said, okay, we're going to focus on sound today. Let me understand that. Okay, now we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And then it becomes less intimidating because, the more you know, the stronger your knowledge base becomes.
Oh, man, now I wish I had one of those, the more you know graphics that I can put across.
The more you know.
I need to grab that for future episodes. I'm sure that we have that. SNES for the win, 100%. 90s kid over here. It's an issue even for the Super Bowl. It's so true. I know, it's funny. I feel like we have all, as streamers, become this like very perfectionist group, and we forget that news shows and radio personalities and all of these organizations have been spending insane amounts of money to be able to accomplish what we are doing for very small amounts of money, and they've still had a bunch of these kinds of challenges. We've watched and listened as there have been all kinds of weird things that have happened in those professional settings. So sometimes you need to know the tech, you need to have a plan, and you need to always test everything and have a backup plan. Absolutely. But sometimes
as
everything is
much.
still going to go wrong anyway, and you need to give yourself a break. It'll be okay. It's going to be okay, everyone.
That's exactly right. And for me, I always, before we do an event, because we've done live streams, even with our interviews, I always literally like say a prayer. I'm like, okay, Wi-Fi tech gods,
Exactly. Please, not
just
God.
work right now,
Yeah.
right? You don't have
Yes.
to work 5 hours from now, but just for this moment in time, please work.
Exactly.
Because so much of it's out of our control, and don't panic if something goes wrong. Don't panic. I have a funny story to share about that. I've done work with local theaters, and I was recruited to be a light board operator for this
Awesome.
big show Amadeus, which is a great
Ooh, I
play.
love Amadeus. Yeah.
Love Amadeus, right? And so the way it was presented to me was you're just pressing one button. That's it. There's a go button, and I'm like, really? Just one button? Oh,
Like,
okay.
feels like that's not true, but
It
okay.
feels like that's not true, right? Of course, it was more than that. It was a light board op. Had to program it all. It was
Sure.
like 200 cues, and loved it. And one of the people on the staff said, "Whatever you do, don't panic. Like if something goes wrong, don't panic." Right.
Yep.
And so it was a long run of the show. Got to the last show. I was hitting my cues, working with the stage manager. He's like sound like cue 50 go. I hit it twice and the lights flickered, and all of a sudden I panicked, right? Because I realized the lights are all in my
Oh
hands.
no. Yeah.
And so now I take that whenever something doesn't go right, it's like, you know what? No one died. We didn't lose $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
The world didn't explode, and so stay calm, and there's always something you can do in the moment, and because something's gonna happen, right?
Yep. Yep. Something's absolutely gonna happen. Somehow Paul found my interview, so there you go, everyone. This is the benefit of having a magical moderation team.
I love Paul. I always see Paul's name too. Hey, Paul.
Well, we are, again, it never ceases to amaze me how quickly the time flies, but we are at the end of our hour-long time
Oh my
together.
gosh.
Crazy. Is there anything else that you wanted to be able to share? Anything that you have upcoming? Any final thoughts? What are your final thoughts, Kimberly?
My final thoughts are don't panic. And I do want to share about our science course. We're going to be launching our kickoff event
Yeah.
is being edited. We got our
Love
team. We
it.
got a person in Taiwan and someone in France doing all this
That's
filming
awesome.
and our editing for that. And we're also highlighting a science literary writing competition. So all you
Awesome.
sci-fi fans,
Yeah.
paranormal, dystopian, futuristic, cash prizes, $200 cash prize, and a consultation with the savviest literary agent this side of the Milky Way, Letty Gomez.
Oh,
Get your submissions in. Go to www.zoomcatchers.us, revamped, upgrade website. Natalie Jamavant rocks. And yeah, we're looking for submissions. We want the next great sci-fi gem. And yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. And if you have any great virtual event ideas, bring it to us. We can make you look and sound great.
all right, here we go. Here we go.
There we go. There we go. There we go. And I really, final thoughts. I have to once again thank my team. I wouldn't be here without them. Natalie
Awesome.
Jamavan, Lily Forrester, Steve Arsberger, Anna Joe, Esme Crummel, Garland, our founder, Leticia Gomez, Elizabeth Martinez. They're a great bunch of people. So excited that I have been a part of this experience. I'm so used to watching all y'all's programs and putting stuff in the chat, and so it's really great to be here today, Katie.
Oh, of
Thank you for
course.
responding to my email.
I love email. It's like my favorite. I love getting to chat, especially easy ones like that where they're like, I want to chat with you. I'm like, done. Let's do this.
Done.
Oh
When are
man.
you available?
Solvable
Time moves
solvable
so
problem. It's like,
fast.
yep, I'm in. Let's do it. I love it. Yeah, the time
And then
does
my
go by fast.
and then my other final thought is use Ecamm, everybody. It really is a game changer. It just makes your virtual productions just smooth and beautiful. It's
Yeah.
not as intimidating as it seems. Get a cup of coffee. Here's my coffee
Multiple
cup.
cups of
Open
coffee.
multiple gourmet coffee too, and learn the program, and you'll see the difference.
I
So
love it.
those are my final thoughts. Really, really
Amazing.
love your program.
Amazing final thoughts. One final thought from Valerie. She says you are inspiring. She resonates so much with what we're discussing, which is awesome. We love you, Valerie.
Thank you.
I love it. Well, thank you. We have Paul dropped your links in there, so now no one has any excuses. Everyone's got to click on over. I love it. Click on over. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, for hanging out with us again. And yeah, I think I have one more of these scheduled, which means that you all need to email me so that we can keep the show going. So let's definitely get some emails in from people who want to come on. We need to have Paul on. Paul, I'm looking at you. We need to do a moderator chat. I think it'd be fun to talk and have you share some of your moderation insights. But anyone else who is not Paul and forced into it, send us an email.
Yeah.
We'd love to have people on.
And I can't wait to watch the flow. I can't wait to watch
let's come check out the flow. We're all going to learn about podcasting. We are at Podcast Movement in Dallas, Texas, coming up at the end of August. So if you're in the Dallas area and you want to hang out, we're doing an Ecamm meetup. You can find that information on our Facebook page, as well as we've been sending out via email too. And then I feel like there's other big news. I forgot to say, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm live in 30 minutes in the Facebook community with Luria. We are going to be talking all about LIDA. So if you're like, hey, what's that? And you want to learn about camera confidence and you want to challenge yourself to get a little bit better every day, August is all about that. It is about getting in front of the camera and building confidence in a community setting. So we're going to be talking about that and about how you can join. It's totally free. It's an incredible challenge, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. So come hang out in half an hour, or if you miss it, watch the replay and be sure to learn more about LIDA. But thank you, Kimberly, and we will see you in the chat, and we will see everyone else next time. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye, everyone.